begin with prayer. God of extravagant grace, seek us out through your word and scripture this morning. Shower us with your love wherever you find us. Help us grow in faith in the same graciousness and humility of spirit that you have shown to us, that we might flourish as your disciples, be the best people we can be. Now may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and our Redeemer. Amen. When I was a congregant in a tall steeple church in New York City, we supported a lot of causes financially, and we visited our homebound regularly, but we had a hard time connecting with the people who lived all around us, people in the neighborhood who needed a helping hand. It was hard to look the stranger in the eyes who stood on the street corner asking for change. And it was hard, too, to help the hungry person find a meal. We wanted to help, but we didn't know where to begin. So one day, the associate pastor came up with a plan for mission outreach that would help make those connections happen. He contacted all the local charities that our church had been supporting financially, and he spoke to the administrator of each. And from there, they organized with the local mission committee a full menu of activity, volunteer activity that all of the congregants could take part in. Some of them were set up for families to do, others were smaller scale. The idea was to connect the people that were being served by charity with the people of the church. The Day of Discipleship was born. It's what they called this one day of the year, one dedicated day, the day for mission outreach activity. All of the congregation was invited to take part on this one day. And people did. They signed up for the activity that made sense for them, and we all gathered in the church early in the morning to participate, to sign up for what we were going to be sent out to do that day. Some of us painted a mural in the food distribution center. Others helped distribute meals for Meals on Wheels. Others visited with a tutoring center and for a runaway teen shelter. There was lots happening that day. We began with prayer. We went out and worked for God, came back together for lunch, worked more in the afternoon, and then in the afternoons and we worshiped together, giving gratitude to God for all our blessings. The Day of Discipleship was a great success. Over 100 congregants took place that first day, almost 15 years ago now. And it continues to be a favorite activity, much as our youth mission trip is a favorite of this church. And we organized that would continue year after year. And the point was never to bring about great results. It was more of an introduction to mission work. And it allowed the congregants of the church to understand the needs of the community and ways in which they could participate to become ongoing volunteer workers for God's kingdom building in the world. Now there were 100 new candidates to become deacon. There were 100 more volunteers who could participate in our community outreach, food deliverers and tutors. It was an eye-opening experience for everyone. Finally, we were able to get answers to those questions. Who is my neighbor? And how can I help? I could end the story there and send you out into the day to be good disciples, to dedicate one day a year to mission outreach, or 1 week of your lives to work on building homes for others, or perhaps 1 evening a month to pack food baskets for our food pantry. And you could feel good about that and go home happy. But there's more to Christ's mission in the world than drop-off discipleship. Churches have learned with chagrin that mission work with dignity is not about the well-off helping the have-nots of the world from a distance. We not only have to get our hands dirty and open our hearts, but also we have to start new relationships and take the terrible risk of being changed by the experience, being changed even by the people we serve. Now, like a lot of you, when I first engaged in mission outreach activity in church, I chose activities that I could do with my family, especially with my children as they were growing up. We especially liked mission activity at that church in New York that was preparing food for residents of a halfway house every Friday night. We prepared the food and we served the food. We sat down and ate our food with the residents of this home, people that were recovering from addictions and trying to start their lives again. And much like the community dinner program here at the First Presbyterian Church of Metuchen, it was very fun to be a part of it. My daughters and I participated in this food program almost every Friday night for 5 years. We learned the names and stories of all the residents who came and joined us for a meal. We laughed about their food preferences and their often bickering among themselves, and sometimes too they're telling stories from where they lived together. We never really thought at the time how, in fact, it was much likely that they, on their way home, were telling similar stories about us. Over the years, though, I realize now that we evolved slowly from us and them to a sort of us all together on those Friday nights. And this became especially evident one Wednesday afternoon during this time when I got a phone call at work from the school nurse. She was calling to say that my youngest daughter had fallen in the playground and broken her arm. Now, New York City kids have sports and recess on hard concrete playgrounds, and you don't want to fall when you're playing sports there, but she did, and she broke her arm. So I went to the hospital where she was, a hospital that was near school, and it was near church, and it was near home. And I sat with her as she had her arm reset. She was brave, but I nearly passed out watching. But everything was fine. They gave her a pink fluorescent plaster cast and sent her home with her arm in a sling. And I thought that everything was done until the next day, when I got another phone call, this time from church, from the children's choir director. She was calling me in a panic. "I heard your daughter broke her arm," she said. "Is she all right? Is there anything I can do?" And I was stunned. I mean, it really was just the next day. I couldn't imagine how the choir director had learned of this. And I asked her, "Who told you?" And she said it was James who called. James from the Friday night dinner program. James, a quiet postal worker who'd been part of our program for years. Apparently, he had been in the emergency room that same afternoon when my daughter was rushed in for treatment, and he saw as she was being treated in the open triage area. And when I came in, I didn't see anyone. I was so focused on my daughter. But James was there, and he was watching, and he was concerned. And he was so concerned that when he got home, he called the church. He called the church to say, "I've seen that young girl who's at Friday night dinner program, who's eaten with me for years. She was in the emergency room. Is there anything I can do to help?" Think of it. A formerly homeless New Yorker. A man that we had served as the other. That helpless, homeless, that man, that beloved creation of God. He turned around to help us back. It was God at work. And when we hear the parable told by Jesus in our scripture text, we hear the story of the extravagant sower. Jesus spoke about the man who sows seeds. He went out scattering seeds everywhere, heedlessly, recklessly, practically throwing them into the air to allow them to fall where they may. Some people call this story the parable of the soils. The rocky soil, shallow, scorched, and just one that is fertile enough to bear fruit. The sower confidently scatters seed in all directions. And just by chance, they land in that one right place. And there, the seeds finally bear fruit. And not only do they bear fruit, but they flourish and blossom and come forth with grain, 100-fold, 60, 30. An extraordinary yield, unheard of returns. When the one we've been helping turns around to help us back, it's a miracle growth of extravagant love and boundless grace. It's God at work, and it's amazing. This morning, many of our youth and adult leaders are being commissioned for a youth mission trip. And next Sunday at sunrise, they will be driving down to Roanoke, Virginia to help Habitat Humanity building houses there. But before we commission them, let's remind ourselves that the people that we help in mission have gifts and strengths of their own. It's not that the homeless need our help to live. No. It's God that people need to live. We can help people, but it's God that keeps them alive. Sometimes we have to travel far from home to find that out. Sometimes we have to face up to our own fragile humanity to recognize that we have everything in common with our neediest neighbors. And there comes a time when we have to get out of bed in the morning and serve God again and again and again. Help people go to places and undertake projects where we never thought we'd find ourselves. But we go there in order to find ourselves, to understand what it means to be Christian. Helping people is just a starting place. We discover that we are not better. We are not superior. We are not God. But we are blessed. And we are blessed to be a blessing to others. And so are those we serve. Someday it's us who gives the love of God to others. And other days, we're the ones who receive and need to receive that God love from someone else. The extravagant sower, our gracious God, who has seeded humanity with endless potential to love, to make these relationships possible. God throws seeds of love around everywhere with reckless abandon. We thank God for it, because we are not always situated in the places we need to be. God's scattershot grace finds us where we are, to plant a seed in our hearts, to nurture it with love and grace and forgiveness, so that we might grow into humble disciples who need every bit as much love as we try to give away. We start today. We've already begun. We commission our youth this morning to go out into the world and sow the seeds of God's love through mission work. And this morning we baptized a new baby, Julianne Claire. We planted God's seed of love in her heart. And someday this youngest disciple will grow to respond to God's love 100-fold. And perhaps she will join a youth mission trip to create God's kingdom and nurture it with love and grace, forgiveness. To build a world where the helped and the helpers sometimes change places, and that all of us, every single one, is loved by God forever and ever.